And we're live. Finally, it only took a bazillion minutes. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans. It's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just a bunch of nerdy veterans geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where the magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, we're going to get into this thing. And first, Nick, that mistake, that's the kind of thing people like to hear, apparently. They like to send me messages every time I stumble over the intro. And I would not get that engagement if I just pre-recorded it perfectly. That would be kind of boring.
We don't want to be and if it gives us an extra quarter here and there, we'll take it.
We'll take everything we can get. All right. So, Corissa, would you mind introducing yourselves to our listeners and viewers?
I am Corissa Grant of Worthy Chaos Redemption. I have been doing comics for 11 months. And, 1 year on Halloween. And I have, this is my 7th issue out. And I have been writing for fun for 17 years as a role player. And I have no idea what I'm doing. So there's that.
I don't think we ever do. And by the time we figure it out, they're like rolling the headstone out. Because just when you think you got it, they change something.
Yeah, I made the horrible statement of how hard could it be to make a comic, and it's incredibly hard.
I remember having the talk him off the ledge
me a year ago.
I remember having that conversation where I tried to talk my cover artist off a ledge. It's like, you don't understand, JR. They upgraded the program, and now everything I built doesn't work. And I'm like, well, then just go backwards. They won't let me. I never considered how technology could make an artist's job more difficult.
Actually, I used to edit like fan videos for fun for my story. And I remember every time they upgraded the program, it screwed up something. And now they upgraded it again. You have to pay to redo it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. So every time I go to do something, it's like, oh, would you like to upgrade, install? And I was like, no. So
Adobe is notorious for that. If that's what you're using.
But is that what you're using, Corissa?
I'm using Wondershare.
Yeah, that's just what I just did. I had to back to 11 because I understood how to use 11.
Yeah, that's what I have is 11. I don't want the new one. So
yeah, the 12. I tried to use it and it was so confusing. And I guess if you're like technically savvy, and I am not, maybe it's better. But I just uninstalled it and went back to 11.
Yeah, I went back to 11. No.
So, all right. So the next part of the introduction, dear listener, dear viewers, how we first met them. So I actually found Corissa through Nick, who I believe put an open call. Hey, we want people who do cool things. And that's how I found her. So, Nick, how did you find Corissa?
We became friends on Facebook, probably through the myriad of connecting groups that we all join. And then it'll pop up, and I don't know who added who. Doesn't really matter.
I probably added you, knowing me. I add anyone that's like, my whole goal was how many mutual friends can I get? One person.
Yeah.
So maybe.
And when you get more, you start, what is it? The threshold gets higher. It's like, oh, we only have 20 mutuals. I'm going to delete that.
Oh,
but if it's like over 100, it's like, all right, let me see who we're mutual friends with. Okay.
Yeah.
He's cool. They're cool. Okay.
All right. She's probably cool. I think my most was 1,200. I had 1,200 mutual friends with someone. I was like, well, I got to add this one. And then, like you said, the threshold got higher. It was like, oh, we have to have at least 100 friends. And I was like, well, I might as well. I'm getting to the top, so I have to have 200 friends. And I was like, well, I'm almost to 5,000, so I better do 300. And now it's I have like 1,000. Yeah.
The insta accept right now is if it's like over 500. It's like, hey, you guys have 565 mutual friends. And I'm like, oh, they're probably cool then.
Yep, that's about right.
Wait, there's a cap on how many friends on Facebook you can have?
5,000.
5,000. Unless you turn it into what they call a professional page, then you cap at 5,000, but still anybody can follow you.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's still the cap, but they can follow you. Yeah.
So they can still dive into your little slice of crazy.
I guess I have to stop.
984, I think so.
I think I just hit yes to anyone that sends a friend request that looks like it's a real profile. And even still, I get some that want to sell me something, fishy. But
so I'll do anyone that has mutual friends, like you said, over 500, or any like an artist, a comic, somebody creator or something. But I'm in, like, I will literally talk to anybody, but I'm instantly suspicious of all instant messages because it always starts out with, "Hi, how you doing?" "Good." "Where are you from?" "Yeah." "Okay." So I think yesterday was an NFT person, and then usually it's artists or Cash at Me or something. So, but then I meet like genuinely good people through there. So I try to keep my suspicions to wait until they screw themselves over on like the fourth message. So
Yeah, that's
Well,
we're practically the same on
message
that.
has been the topper. Like I don't think we've passed 4 messages before they're like, "Oh,
Or if
I
they ask
so
me what my
when you have a
relationship status is.
yep."
yeah, if you have a guy profile and the girl that's approaching you looks too good to be true, probably is. And so my running joke now is when they ask me where I'm from, I tell them I live under the shadows of Mount Olympus.
Ooh, I like
Nice.
And
that.
if they can't tell me that that's on Mars, then I know they're not real. Or, like, oh, you live on Mars? How cool is that? Then I'm talking to them because they know things.
Well,
But
there was one person that added me and then messaged me. So, of course, I was instantly suspicious. And then I forgot what they said. "Nice to meet you, blah, blah." And then I said, "Same to you." And then they did check thumbs up. I absolutely hate the thumbs up. I hate it.
You are my spirit animal.
I,
I too hate the thumbs ups.
I
It might as
hate
well be a middle finger.
it's either, I said something that doesn't require a thumbs up, or I didn't care enough for you to do a thumbs up, or I just instantly think it's a screw you and I hate it. So this person did a thumbs up and I was gonna totally throw like under the bus and just forget about him. And then I just said one more word and now we're like best friends. So I had to let the thumbs up, but I actually now he drives me more crazy because he still does the thumbs up every other message. And I said, "You have to do thumbs up every other time," which was the stupidest thing I could have said because now he does it even more, or he'll make it really big just to piss me off. So
Another friend of mine, I told him because he was a big thumbs up guy, and I always view the thumbs up as like, okay,
I hate it. Me too. Absolutely. Me too.
because I do that in a sarcastic and
Me too.
pejorative way to people. So that's how it is. And I told him like same thing. I'm like, hey man, the thumbs up, man. It's a personal thing, and I know it's dumb, but could you stop doing that? Because I take it as like a middle finger. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And then he tried to do that, and then Messenger came out with that option where I can change what the emoji is.
Yeah, I do that to screw people.
So I did that to a hamburger. So
Now
Yeah,
that
it's
was
not thumbs up. It's nothing but hamburgers.
Besides the thumbs up, the only other thing I find annoying, and my best friend does this, so the reaction to every single line that I post. And I've turned that off, but then I have to remember to turn it off for every individual one because you can't do a generalized one. And it's so annoying because you'll hear ding, 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 ding as they do like every message ever. I'm like, you don't have to react to every single thing I said because it makes it so generalized and doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? So I hate those and I'll turn them off, which kind of screws me up with my friend because I'll say something and she'll thumbs up that message and I'll think that she never read it because I have them all turned off. But yeah, they drive me crazy. Anyway, that was a tangent.
I think the worst one has to be the K.
Oh, like, okay. I'm not
like
worth
you can't just put an O in front of it. You can't just say okay. You have to just go K. Like I hate that with a passion.
It's the K or the Y for yes, because half the time I don't know if she's doing Y, like asking me why, or Y as in yes. Like
yes.
What is that? Spell out the damn word. How old are you? So yeah, I agree.
Well, there's that, and then the other thing that drives me absolute nuts is I take care of the Apogee Facebook page, and at least 3 times a day I'm like, hey hon, do you know this guy? And he's like, no, why? And I'm like, because he wants a job.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of this guy. He's not in our circle. He's not even like in the mutual friends. So,
like an artist?
An artist, a writer, an inker.
Pretty sure that all the artists across the world have a template of what to say because they're all the same. I'm an artist. I do manga. Da, 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 da. Can I send you some of my works? I'm like,
exactly.
You have like a cult that you guys do where you all say the same thing. You're required to say the exact same thing every time. And I've been tricked before. And if it wasn't so incredibly bad, I would have been more mad. They sent me like some of their art. And then this is when I first started, when I was as naive as can be. And I was like, oh, okay. So I paid them to do, because it was really nice art. They came back. It's one step above stick figure. It was like stick figure with color. It was so bad, and like a literal 180 of what they sent me. And they couldn't understand why I wasn't hiring them. And I if I didn't crack up, I saved it. That's how much I thought it was funny. It cracks me up every time. Remind me later, I'll send you it. It cracks me up every time because it's just so unbelievably bad that I can't even fathom how they had the guts to send this to me and claim it as their own and then send that one. So yeah, now if they send me that, the only thing I ever say is, if they keep bothering me, I was like, you can send me a free page and I'll let you know. And then they do it and I'm like, no. So
yeah, hard no.
Yeah.
The ones I get with the random messages, have you heard the good news? And they're going to tell you about some made up government program where if I just sign up for this and give them all of my identifying data,
instant block.
Yep.
As soon as I hear, have you heard the good news?
Yep.
And I say, yes, you get blocked. And then they get blocked. So yeah.
I have a script. Just I can copy and paste when that happens, and it pretty much says like, "This is an FBI snare account, and you have been caught." We're now downloading your IP address and all known affiliates connected with this IP address, and then
You're
they're
gonna
like,
have to send me that.
They shut that
Can
down.
you send me that too?
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me that. We're gonna have to start our own cult, like the artist started.
Yeah,
and then we can send out the same thing, and they're gonna be like, they started their own cult.
Oh my god, they counter culted us.
Yeah. Inspired by the cults of artists out there. Yeah.
And just so everyone listening at home in Podcastia land, I always want you to know that the minute Nick said he hated the thumbs up, you know what I did? I spammed the admin chat with thumbs up.
And then I changed the quick react to the poop emoji.
Which is, I guess, what happens after he eats too many tacos out there in California. But I hear your street tacos are amazing.
Oh, dude, I could eat those every day. Every day.
We don't really have street vendor food, but we have a coffee company that's that goes around. It has like a pop-up coffee company thing in a street cart type deal.
Well, the thing here is like the carts, the street food is actually just the mobile part of an actual restaurant.
Okay.
So you can go to the restaurant, and it's kind of like, it's mostly drive-through stuff. You know, the 3 a.m. crowd when you've had too many cervezas. You're like, man, I could go for some tacos. And then you get everyone. So as soon as you start that, it spreads like a virus. Like, yeah, I could go for some tacos too. I'm not even hungry though, but I'm going to eat some tacos. Next thing you know, you're all eating tacos.
We don't have like food trucks. We have like food truck events.
Yeah, we have those too.
Yeah, they just meet up. Like, I've never seen an actual truck just come around and stop. Though I do sometimes feel like chasing this thing called, I think it's Corona. It's not Corona. It's something ice. And it has a little pirate on the side, and I want it. Kohana, I think, or something like that. I want it every time I see it. But I've yet to actually be able to track it down and stalk it. But we don't have like actual food trucks that I see parked at like normal things, but they'll have, like, I saw a sign today. It said, oh, park event here, truck event Thursdays at 8. And I'm just like, is truck food like a good thing? Cause like when I lived in Connecticut, the truck food was because you had nothing else you had no other choice. So I don't know, if I didn't think that food truck was a luxury enough that I would go to a place and buy it on a specific day, but I guess that's what they do.
So I grew up outside a Navy base, and they would call them gut trucks or the Roach Mobile, because it was the kind of food that was rejected by the barracks. A Roach Coach, yep. It was rejected by the barracks, but they would show up when you were out in the field and it was hot. And it didn't take much to be better than an MRE. And so now I have trouble wrapping my head around that people actually get gourmet food from these traveling cars with food in them.
Yeah. I mean, for breakfast, when I worked at a veterinary hospital, that was like the breakfast thing came, and I was a teenager, and I don't know, I probably spent more in the trucks than I actually made at the vet. But I would get the same damn thing every time. It was like a hard roll with like a fried egg on it, maybe a slice of cheese. And I would get that like every day.
We do have food vendors out here that just have a little tiny cart, and the only time you see them is as you're coming out the gates of Petco Park, like you're leaving the baseball game, you're walking out, and they have bacon wrapped hot dogs, they have all the grilled peppers, the grilled onions, and they are just a little tiny cart, and they're lined up for about 3 blocks. So you are walking
in the park? Like,
nope.
You eat on the way out?
You eat on the way out because these little carts have the best hot dogs.
Oh.
And it's like, I don't know if it's the grease that's just accumulated over the years of these little
it's like
carts.
a cast iron. They don't clean it.
Oh my God, they are the best hot dogs after you've been drinking at the game. So like by the 7th inning, you're like, nobody else buy any food because we're getting hot dogs on the way out. And the second you get down from the bleachers, you can smell them.
We have a place like that outside of the Lowe's that does chili. Was it Philly cheesesteaks that they cook in front of you? And that's the kind of place where you could walk out. Literally, you have just eaten Thanksgiving dinner. You were so bloated you could barely waddle around the aisles, and you will be hungry when you smell their food.
See, I'm from New York, so I was used to going to the city and having the pretzels that taste like cigarettes, which I got every time. Those had cart everywhere you go. There's a cart, unless you want one, and then there's nowhere to be seen. But yeah, they would have cigarette smelling, tasting pretzels or the hot dogs and all that stuff. So yeah, I grew around those, but yeah, they're the falafel.
You gotta love the dirty water hot dogs.
Yeah,
love the dirty water.
That was my nickname in college.
Yeah,
that one too.
I like many of them.
These ones they make like they're like basically Tijuana dogs, but they won't call them Tijuana dogs because we're a little too close to Tijuana. So they're just like, bacon wrap hot dogs.
You know what I really want though? And if you're listening, you can take credit and just make sure it happens. But instead of the ice cream truck that sounds the siren and drives around, can we get like a traveling bar where I could just work up in like a bourbon or a mead or any mixed drinks?
There's a boat like that on Mission Bay. It's a pontoon boat, but it looks like it's got the big wheel in the back, like a river barge.
Okay, it's a paddle boat.
And so you can get right up in there, and there's a full bar, and they'll check your ID and make you whatever you want, and then you just boat off.
Is it a proper steamboat?
Is there a what?
Is it a proper steamboat? Because if so, everybody that works there ought to be called Willie.
It's not. They'll put attachments to look like a steamboat.
Right.
It's a pontoon boat. It's running on a motor.
Okay.
But they have the 8-person bar bicycle too. So you
get
7 of your friends. Yep, you get 7 of your friends.
Wow.
4 on each side, and you pedal away, and you're making your way through downtown San Diego, and there's a bartender in between the 4 friends and the 4 friends that serves you while you're just biking around town. But
on one hand, that's a way to stay sober longer, and on the other hand, like epic crashes. Yeah. I've been. I could see that ending badly.
It's a lot of work to get.
Nick, could you imagine our infantry brothers and on something like that? We'd end up somehow in the president's lawn. It would be ugly.
You can take over him.
Yeah, it would
there
be bad.
Would be so many 15-6 investigations going on.
Yep. Speaking of consuming too much alcohol and it giving you strange ideas, so can you tell us about your Kickstarter? Because that art, first off, badass. I love it. Well done. But we're here to talk about your Kickstarter. So can you tell us about your series? That is the worst segue ever or the best segue ever. I'm not quite sure, but we're going to go with it.
It was very creative, JR.
Yes,
very creative.
Very different. A new one for me.
4 stars. Nick says check it out.
Okay, so my story is a supernatural horror adventure. It's a mixture of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, Good Omens, Silent Hill, Resident Evil. It has all of that in there. The basic story down to the key would be Romeo and Juliet in hell, if you want to put it at its basic core. But generally, basically, it's a survival, survival horror. And the two main characters are on a survival against their parents. So she's a angel descendant. They're not aware of this. We are, because we see their parents. But She's an angel descendant that is a supernatural hunter, and he is an assassin who's a demon descendant. And they have lived through past lives together, and each time they don't have any memory in the next life, but they're instantly drawn to each other. And something happened in the last life to screw up everything, and now in this life, their fathers are after them, and they play. You know, they're kind of like pawns. So the main key is their fathers want to take the angelic weapon away from her that she was created from. And if they can get a hold of it, then it could tip the scales of heaven and hell in their favor during the war. Her father wants it for another reason, but he's using the war as an excuse. The only way to currently activate it is her death. So it's kind of a survival for them to survive everything they throw at them, you know, zombies, zombie mermen, ghosts, Anubis, hellhounds, pretty much giant salamanders, pretty much anything you could think of is thrown at them. So the story is already written. This series 1, anyway, is 50 issues already written, and it's separated into
wow.
Yeah, I actually have 100 issues written, but 50 of them is this series. 45 is a spin-off complete series. And then I have a prequel and 2 series already started. There's 2 series.
When you say it's already finished, do you mean the art, everything, or just the storyboard is written and you've got to do
in novel form? So I have I have 10 finished novels for 2 stories, and then I have a prequel started and series 2 started, but it's 5 novels each. So it's written in novel form. We just passed the 1 million mark like 2 months ago. So we've been writing the story for about 2 years, but we started comics 1 year in Halloween's 1 year in comics. So it wasn't intentional. We wrote it while role playing. The story is pretty much written by me. I lead it, but I only write for Serafina and the minor characters or whatever. So I write for Serafina, her thoughts, her actions, and everything, and my co-writer writes for Draven. So everything that you read when you read for Draven is my co-writer. So it's 2 different people. It gives them 2 different personalities, and that way, when you're reading the story, it separates them as characters. They're completely different, just like we are. Like, my character talks way more than she thinks, which is a lot like me. And Draven thinks way more than he talks, which is pretty much my co-writer.
Okay.
That's so cool. When you say it's in novel form, do you mean like it's on sale on Amazon, or do you mean it's just in novel form with you guys that you then convert?
It's just a novel form for us. We never got it published because it's written in role-playing faction. It's technically 2 views of the same chapter. So I'll write a chapter, I send it to my co-writer, and then my co-writer will write the same chapter, but through Draven's eyes. So you get to hear, it'll be him talking to my character, answering anything she said, saying anything back, thoughts, actions, everything. So it's the point of view is 2 different ways to do it. So
is there any possibility if there, well, 1, make it as a novel and double your income off the same IP you've already written, and 2, what level of backing would someone have to do to get a look at the behind the scenes of those chapters?
I haven't decided. So the main thing that happened was we were going to release it. We were going to try to release it. We got an editor, and editor said you could not do it this way because people wouldn't like the way it's split, and you couldn't do it, blah, blah, blah. So we gave up, and she said you'd have to merge the entire story so that it wasn't separated, which I definitely did not want to ruin the story or do any of that. So I said, I'll just print it for us on lulus.com or whatever it's called. And I went to go find an artist, and I was like, we'll just get a cover made for us. It'll just be, because I'll read them over and over again. I love all 10. And so I went to go look for an artist to find that, and they were all too cartoony in my mind. So I asked my co-writer, do you mind cartoony or do you want realistic? And they said cartoony is fine. So a light bulb went off, and I was like, well, if you don't mind cartoony, what about a comic book? And then I jumped into it like an idiot, and here I am.
So the good news is with indie revolution in the writing space, you don't have to listen to those gatekeepers who tell you what people like, and you'll be surprised at how often they are wrong. I mean, if it makes you feel better, somebody rejected Harry Potter a few times before it got published, and I bet they're kicking themselves even still.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I was just talking to my husband literally 20 minutes before this, if even 20 minutes, how Dr. Seuss had been declined 21 times and he was on his way to destroy his manuscript when he ran into a friend on the sidewalk. And they said, "Oh, I publish books and I can publish yours." And now that's why we have the story. So, yeah, even Dr. Seuss got denied a lot of times. And I get
So did
that.
Tolkien.
And who?
Tolkien.
Tolkien.
Lord of the
Tolkien.
Rings got
Yeah.
no one was going to read that much, and then he split it up into 3 books, and
Yeah.
he eventually got picked up.
So when I first started, I went to 2 or 3 publishers, and I wrote out this whole proposal. I had an editor, because I'm dyslexic, so I had an editor go over my proposal and sent it in, and they would not even read it. They said, we won't look at it because it's more than 3 issues. And I said, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Well, we will only take a series that's completed in 3 issues." And I said that both of these first publishers did this. And I said, "Why would you do that?" And they're like, "Oh, well, only half the people buy, or 65% buy the second one, and then even less buy the third one." And I said, then you have the wrong stories. I was like, you're doing the wrong stories. Have you not seen this little tiny company called Marvel and DC? They have more than 3 issues. And I said, it's not like you're paying for it, and it's not like you've got a contract for 3 issues. Why would you at least try it for 3 issues and see how it goes? So the guy said, "No one's ever going to read all 50 of yours." And I said, "Well, I'll just have to do it myself then." So here I am doing it myself. So we've got 8 done, and we're gonna keep going until I lose my house, pretty much. So we're good.
Yeah,
for a little while. Yeah.
I mean, they make
That's
cardboard
any
boxes
comic,
very
so.
strong these days.
Yeah. So issue 7, which will be live when people are watching this. It is the conclusion to book 1. So book 1 is 1 through 7. It's pretty much in a town merging with hell. The characters are trying to get out of the town. Their her angel father and his demon father are pulling the strings and everything. You get to see how that happens. So in issue 7, you kind of come to a conclusion of things that are questions that you might have had in the last 6, because we kind of, messed with people's mind and screwed up little things. So it answers that. And of course, there's hundreds more questions with that. And it's a giant issue of 38 pages. And it concludes with them getting into book 2. So it kind of leads into book 2. So book 2, they're all connected, all 5 books. They're just different environments. So you have 1 through 7. Book 1 is in the Silent Hill type town of the Silent Hill. And then in book 2, you have them trapped in a haunted asylum that has zombies, giant salamanders, and ghosts. And they can't get out of it. The asylum is kind of pretty much alive, and it kind of controls things, and they're trying to get out of that. And then book 3 is them trapped in a 10 issues of pretty much Resident Evil 2, where they're trapped in an infested zombie city with 2 other survivors. And they're trying to get out of that city. And then 3, 4, and 5 are on an island full of experiments and monsters, and they go to hell and stuff. A lot happens. So very boring story. So.
I like your sarcasm. It goes well.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can guarantee you. Every single person that reads it has been like, this has been the most action. So much happens in one issue. It's almost, especially book 2. Book 2. So I hired, because it's very, I'm a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I had commissioned the Buffy the Vampire Slayer artist, Carl Moline, to do a cover for book issue 9. So he asked what happens, and I was like, let's see. In the beginning of the issue, they're fighting 2 ghosts that were killed during sex, a patient and a nurse. And so they're getting attacked by these 2 ghosts. And while they're escaping, they have to get through a hallway of these giant salamanders that have claws and teeth and can't be shot because they absorb the bullets and all this stuff. Then they go into the next one, and they get attacked by a giant man-eating plant, kind of like Little Shop of Horrors. And then while she's taking a shower, she gets attacked by zombies. And so she's about to fight them wrapped in a towel. And he's like, "So is that the book?" And I was like, "No, that's issue 9.
That's
so
one issue.
Yeah, it's one issue. And I've tried to make my issues 28 pages. It was originally my goal. Barely any of them make it. They're almost all 32. So it's between 28 and 36 pages. And the reason is because it's being written from a novel. So like I know where I want to stop it. So I pretty much try to go to that point, and it winds up making the book a lot bigger, like issue 7 being 38 pages. So
nothing wrong with a plus size issue.
Yeah.
As a reader of comics, I'm like, hey, I'm paying for 32 to 38 pages, and it's not that much more. Yeah, all right.
Actually,
that sounds good.
It's the same price as everybody else's, so it's $10 for the same 38 pages. So and someone on one interview was like, "Oh, you have to be consistent." I was like, "Yeah, I'm really sure that people are going to get upset with the extra 15 pages for free. I'm sure that's going to be a big issue."
Oh, you're going to give me 15 more pages of fun? Okay.
Yeah. And I just came up with the. I was planning out book 2, and I wanted it finished by next Halloween. So I said the only way to do that is to merge 6 and 7. So I'll just have a giant double issue, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So that worked out really well for that. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So who did the cover that's on the screen right now?
This is Erwin. He gave me 2 copies. One with these. This one's clear, and then there's one with the scratches. And I posted on Twitter and Facebook, which do you guys prefer, the artistic scratches or clear? I could not be more underestimating when I say it was so split down the middle that I had to do both, because they all had reasons for why it was better. Like it was starting to become like a religion here. Like, oh, well, scratches, it's, artistic, and this is a violent issue with, a lot of dark tendencies. So you got to have the scratches. And then the other person would be the same thing, saying it's a dark issue. You don't want to cover it up with scratches. And I was like, so I was finally like, I'm just going to do both. So now we have both issues.
I really like the artist style. It's very Alex Malev. He was a similar styled artist, but he did like Daredevil for like 5 to 10 years. Like he's got that.
So just a little comic book no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, Daredevil. No one's ever heard of that. It's only been going on for like 1,000 issues.
He did the issue for this, and I was annoyed because one thing I hate about Kickstarter is their pictures are horizontal instead of vertical. And I could not do it on my own. I'm not tech savvy, like we said before. So I went back to the artist and said, "Can you kind of rearrange them so that I can get them all in a picture?" And he did it for free. And now we have this really cool banner here. Anubis kicks ass there. He looks awesome. And his Hellhound that he plays fetch with is next to him. So yeah.
So what else would you do with a Hellhound?
Yeah, and it's really funny because it wasn't in the novel. So I was writing or scripting issue 5, and for whatever reason, at the end of it, I had the it was 4 or 5. I think it was 4. I had the Hellhound there, and the Hellhound has just been introduced in my spinoff, and I loved it in the spinoff that I wanted to add it to this. So I was like, well, now I got to add, regular Hellhound. And for some reason, I pictured the Hellhound bringing Anubis a stick, and Anubis being like, "What is this?" and throwing it, and then the Hellhound going and bring it back. So they were literally playing fetch. And now in the rest of the issues, the Hellhound kind of follows him around with a stick in his mouth most of the time. So
I like that Anubis character.
I love Anubis. He's so popular. I have my plushie with me.
Which issue was he on the cover? That cover that Jim
on the cover. He's on the cover of 2. And I think the rest, there's always one cover with him because he's the most popular there is. And I've had people be like, Anubis isn't bad. He's not bad. If you read the book, there's hints to it. And in 7, they flat out tell you that he's being controlled by Seraphina's father. He has a remote control that has Anubis written in runes, and he's controlling him. And I'm actually working on a issue 0 that's going to show you how all the point of views of how issue 1 got started. So it kind of gives you behind the scenes of them playing against them. So you're going to see, I'm going to have them as stretch goals in 7 different points of views. Well, now I guess that's be 6 because I cut down the issues. So it'll be 6 point of views. One of them is going to be Anubis, on how Anubis was minding his own business in the underworld, and her father comes and screws that all up. So I'm kind of excited to write that. I wrote part 1 so far, and it's going to be a stretch goal for each issue in book 2.
So what made you decide for the for the ghost scene? I keep coming back to that. The doctor and nurse that died in the act of love. What made you decide to add that? Because I was muted, but I was laughing when you said that.
So it's actually part of the story where you have to figure out what's going on there with all the ghosts and all the patients. And it was she cheated on her husband with this patient, and he murdered them while they were in throes of sex. So they're obviously
going to die. I mean, I could think of worse ways to go.
Right?
If you got to go out in a bang.
Yeah.
Go out sleeping peacefully, unlike the people in the car next to you.
Yeah. This cover here is the most popular cover I've sold yet. This is Ken Hunt from the artist that worked on Batman, Harley Quinn, Superman for like 10 years. And it was colored by the current interior colorist for Lady Death Universe, CC Dela Cruz. They did a phenomenal job. This is also the back of the hardcover. And the reason why it's the back is because I had them do a cover for it. So the front and back is done by the same team. He just looks badass there.
Yeah, that's the cover that kind of turned me on. Did Jim O'Reilly do one also for you?
He was supposed to and never got around to finishing it. He was supposed to do a pinup of the female a vampire.
Okay.
Yeah, so he never
got
got
Jim working on an Anubis, but I don't know if it was tied to this. But I don't know. I saw this cover multiple times through Facebook and Twitter. Whoever, I might be friends with Mr. Hunt as well. And I'm getting mixed up because I've been blown up a lot. But I saw the progression of it from
that's
the sketch, the pencils, to the inks.
Has gotten the most likes of any of his posts and any of my posts. Like on Facebook, all of his posts, I went all the way back down a year. All of them have around 300, and this in 24 hours had 600 plus.
It's beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite indie covers that I've seen in the last year.
Yeah. I really wanted to make it the hardcover cover, but the one that he did for it has all the characters on it. So I'm like, well, I'll have to put this one on the back.
The level of detail on this is insane.
Oh, so I bought and gave the original to my co-writer. So my co-writer has the original ink on the wall. It's phenomenal. Beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. And even the black and white, like I have black and white prints somewhere. Let me see. And even that looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, the pen and ink one is, I mean, the color's good too, but the pen and ink one has so much impact. Yeah. Because it doesn't have all the effects on it. It's just.
So if you could see, I have a color. This is the color of the coloring book, the cover of the coloring book. So that's it in black and white, just his inking. It's absolutely gorgeous. By the way, we have the coloring book in the add-ons for $5 printed or $2 digital. For the $5, you get the digital and the printout, because why not? Yeah.
That's just amazing.
So while you guys were talking, I went to get some of the other art.
That was a popular cover too.
That's kind of nice. I like it.
The original art for this one too. If there's, I actually prefer to work with digital artists more, but if it's traditional, I have to own the original or I don't hire them.
Oh, you can hire me anytime.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I like
these
art.
are all
I like
really
the way you did the monster over here, Anubis.
Yeah. Anubis starts in issue 2 And then I think he's not in 1 or 3. And then I think he's in at least a couple of pages in every one. In 3, he's in it more. And in 2, he's in it a little bit more too. He actually fights hellhounds. He kidnaps Seraphina to try to save her from Draven and everyone else. But unfortunately, now that he has the hellhound, they start, when the remote control starts not working, they start threatening the hellhound. But works out for me.
I like the art. Is it the same style throughout all the books?
So this is my interior artist. So this is the inside of the book. This is the homage to Supernatural. If you saw the whole picture, it's got baby in the background. And this is an homage to one of the posters where Dean is standing like that, and Sam is in the background like her. They have the same weapons pretty much. And then baby, I turned around and I changed the background. But yeah, pretty much.
Sam's pretty easy to switch to a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared thought it was funny, but I'm gonna
I was just thinking, like, I've been looking at all the pictures as you guys keep talking, and I'm like, man, I get Walking Dead vibes from all of this, like the Walking Dead comic books. Because everybody hears Walking Dead and they think the show, and I'm like, no, not the show, the comic books, and I'm just getting like Walking Dead vibes from them.
You mean the graphic novel?
I mean, I have never read the graphic novels, but I have seen them. I've been told I have to read them because it's right up my alley. I'm not the biggest fan of black and white, but I used to read a lot of manga that was black and white. But
they go color.
They do go color
later on. So after right around Terminus.
I'm more likely to read a book or a comic or something than actually finish a series. I always have to tell Nick when he's like, oh, don't you remember that part of Walking Dead? Like the show, don't you remember? And I'm like, dude, the last episode I watched was the Tainted Meat episode. He's like, that was like season 4. Like,
I stopped after Carol and Daryl stopped being close. I was so mad about it. The cave, when the cave collapses and they're mad at Daryl's mad at her and she goes crazy. I just stopped watching after that because the whole reason I watched it was because I loved the connection they had. And I didn't care if they got together, but they teased it where the acorns and the bracelet. And so it was kind of a tease. And then all of a sudden they're not even talking to each other. And I was like, screw you. So no, I haven't finished the series.
I keep telling everybody, same thing with Supernatural. I love Supernatural. I started working a full-time job. I have yet to finish it. So every time he's like, oh, don't you remember? And I'm like, spoilers, darling. Spoilers.
I stopped watching when a certain person died. And I didn't think
it's been like 6 years. It was Glenn. He's dead. He died.
No, I mean,
you don't have to tiptoe.
She's talking about
Supernatural. So after that character died, I stopped watching it for like 8 years, and then I just started it over again and finished it because I made my husband watch it because we're going to go to the convention, and I was like, you have to watch it, otherwise you can't go. And he loved it. So,
I like the art where it looks like she's about to chop this vampire chick's head off.
Well, she's touching Draven, so she's not happy. This is my interior artist too. And he did it wrong the first time, and he had to redo the entire cover because he had like pretty much the vampire like leaning against Draven way too much. My interior, internal Sarah was way more jealous, and he didn't look as annoyed, and she looked more annoyed than mad. And I was like, no, this needs to be completely redone. It is completely wrong. She is not just going to stand there and look bemused that some girl has her hand on his chest. So we're going to have to fix that.
I don't know, man. She's rocking an awesome outfit.
Yeah. I will say this. So I don't do topless covers really because I have no nudity in the books, and I don't like to, make people think that I do. But I had a Marvel artist, Rich Parada, that worked on New Mutants, Deadpool, Iron Man, Spider-Man. He did as a gift, he did a topless vampire cover for me. So I didn't want to not use it. So I put it as an add-on, as a secret cover. And all people had to know it was uncensored. So I sold I think 5 or 6 of those. So I think I have 4 left that I'm going to sell as an add-on. So I didn't advertise it at all. I didn't even mention that there was a secret title on my page. I just, if you went to add-ons, you would find it and then you could buy it.
Rich Parada, my best friend in the comics industry and co-owner of my company, Apogee Comics. Good dude, and he does Cupcake very well.
Yeah, he's working on an issue with Lori from Path of the Pale Rider.
Yep.
She's writing it and he's drawing it, and I don't know when it's gonna be done, but there's that. So yeah,
he's so awesome. Quick. It could be at any time. It'll just show up as a done book.
Well, how fast Rich he draws them on screen. Like when I first met him on my very first time on the Madness, he just drew my 2 characters while we were talking. So yeah. I was like, what happened here?
With Doc and all those guys.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of being on the Madness a couple of times. It's fun, and I'll watch him drawing stuff while and then I stop drawing what I'm doing just to watch what he's doing.
Yeah. So hold on, Nick. So we are at the oh my God, it's 46 minutes in, and we didn't air a commercial. Man, yeah, we got a shill for the man, but in this time we're shilling for the woman because Corissa was kind enough to sponsor this episode. So if you're listening in podcast land, like, I mean, you know, you'll get a commercial if Spotify puts one in, but otherwise we just got the really cool art on screen. And if you're listening, you're missing out this time. I don't normally say that, but I think it's worth watching on this one. So thank you for sticking with us through that commercial interlude. And yeah, let's get back to talking about nerd stuff.
Love it. I'm here for it.
So a couple of things. Well,
go ahead.
Well, I just wanted, before I forget, every issue has an Easter egg from a horror game or horror movie, generally from the 90s. And when the hardcover comes out, whoever finds them all and posts them gets the first one to post it gets a free 3D Anubis statue. But they're fun just to find anyway. Yeah. Everyone misses all of them, so you have to. No one's gonna get issue 7 because it's an 80s movie and it's so obscure. As a sci-fi person, you should know it. What is it?
Nick, do you know what we just did? Do you know what we just did?
What's that?
We got so distracted by food talk, we didn't ask her the religion question.
I discovered that about 30 minutes ago, and I was like, I don't know, man. We're on a roll. We're having a blast. Let's just keep going. We can ask it at the end.
Yeah, we're going to have to. Because if you're listening and you're like, oh my God, they broke the tradition. That's the only thing they kept when they reformatted. We'll ask at the end, people.
B&B first. Mark it down.
So Corissa, you confused me. Corissa, you mentioned that you were inspired a little bit by Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Are you talking the movie or the TV series or the comics?
The TV series. I don't know what the movie was. They didn't even turn to dust, which, by the way, not to diss on my own show, but I don't know why their clothes turned to dust, but, whatever. Easy cleanup.
They obviously didn't see Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
I like the end of the movie where he's like going around all the dead kids and he's like, detention. And then the even better part was that death scene at the end, which was totally unscripted. The guy was just like, I'm
Paul
sick
Rubens?
of your crap. Yeah.
Where he's just like, ugh.
That was like, I still laugh at that.
And then he looks to make sure you're still watching.
My kid actually did that. We went to a reenactment, and he thought he could outdie the Civil War reenactors at a local event, and so that's what he mimicked.
Yeah, we have a subspecies called clotters in 4 through 6, which we might do a comic based just on them because they're too cool. But it's based on a mutation on a vampire where his heart beats once every 6 hours, which is just enough to keep off rigor mortis. So he has very clotted blood, very strong, whatever. He needs to feed directly from a human, not a blood bag, not an animal. Otherwise, he starts to deteriorate like a zombie. Since our vampires have their souls, unlike, Buffy Vampire Slayer, most of them didn't kill humans when they changed because they just wound up deteriorating because they felt they didn't want to deal with that. So he had to turn only the most ruthless vampires, most ruthless humans there are, sociopath and murderers. So not only are they incredibly ruthless vampires, But they have this ability that when they bite you or taste your blood, they can track you anywhere like a homing beacon. And if you kill that one, then the entire nest can now track you, and they'll seek out revenge for you and not stop until they kill you. So we have that fun side story in 4 through 6.
What inspired you for that type of tracking power?
Because I have logical mindset in a mythical setting. So in my mind, vampires would bleed in every movie and everything show. And I'm like, how do vampires bleed if they don't have a heartbeat? So I wanted them to bleed in mine. So I gave them a heartbeat of every 6 hours, which I had to research when rigor mortis starts. So rigor mortis starts right after 6 hours. So I figure 6 hours gives them thick clotted blood, makes them stronger, makes them thicker. And then it kind of snowballed from there. So obviously they're called clotters because they have thick clotted blood, which is pretty gross.
Okay.
The only way to kill them is chopping off their heads, or you could try fire, but it would take too long and they'll kill you. You cannot stake them in the heart unless I'll give you if it's right before the 6 hours. But we took some from mythology. I did a lot of research. And, originally the staking didn't kill a vampire. The whole point was to pin it to the coffin. It wasn't to kill it. Also, the original vampires can go in the sun. They didn't because they're shadow creatures, but the sun didn't kill them. So they don't sparkle, but ours go in the sun. Generally, they only do it during revenge. They'll go into the sun or whatever. And also, I hate the trope of can't be seen in a mirror, because originally it was because mirrors were made of silver and they said it's so pure you can't see. But you know what? I'm just going to go with you can see a rock in a mirror. How are you not seeing these solid creatures? So I'm calling BS on the mirrors. And then your home was just one of those things that people wish was the case so that they felt better in their homes. But nope, don't have to. So there.
I'm just saying, how did Damon and Stefan perfectly coif their hair if they couldn't look in a mirror?
Are you bringing up Twilight right now?
Vampire Diaries.
Oh, God, that's almost as bad.
Vampire what?
Diaries.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
No, but it's CW vampires, so they're like...
So I met both of them in person. And I got my picture taken with both of them, but I did not watch the show. I think I watched like season 1, and I just could not really get into it. They're good looking guys though. So
my stepdaughters love all of them, and they tried to talk to me about it. So I finally broke down and just watched all 3 spinoffs.
Yep.
So now when they talk to me, I'm like, yeah, I saw that.
One of the original one is the originals. What's the other spinoff?
Legacies.
It's their kids.
So of course she watched the show. I have to watch the show, or I'm not watching anything.
You were out of town.
Thank God.
So when you say they're kids, like, did they actually have babies the old-fashioned way, or just people they turned?
No, so there was a hybrid, and because the hybrid was part werewolf, part vampire, they were able to have babies, and then there was a tribrid. And because they were witch, werewolf, and vampire, they were able to have babies.
And they say my wavium is bad. That's kind of convoluted.
A tribrid.
A tribrid.
Okay.
That means that's a fancy way of saying 3-way.
My one stepdaughter, she goes, you need to watch Legacies. And I was like, okay. So I start watching it, and I'm like, why does this give me Vampire Diaries feel? And she goes, oh, it's their kids. And I'm like, how did vampires have kids? She's like, didn't you finish Vampire Diaries? I'm like, no, I did not.
They don't have heartbeats. I don't know how they're having sex, but I'll let it go.
You know what? It's because they ate at the taco truck after the ball game.
Yeah,
their heart can pump blood. What? Every 6 hours?
Every 6 hours.
So you got a small window to get an erection.
And there went our family-friendly rating. Okay. So
election.
I've seen that you've had previous Kickstarters where you've done previous episodes. So what exactly is this Kickstarter for? Is it all of the old ones plus some new ones, or like, and what are the stretch goals?
There's always the new issue, and then it's always has, because I want people to know that you can get any of the back issues. So when you do my Kickstarter, you have your choice of getting just issue 1, either PDF or printed. So new people don't have to get a catch-up tier; they can just get 1 if they want to. And then we have all the back issues, or you can get a new issue, which would be issue 7 in this one. We also have a mini catch-up tier, which is 1 through 3. And we have the huge catch-up tier, which is 1 through 7, both PDF, printed, and metal covers. And then you can get, like I said, any of the back issues. So if you want to buy issue 1 and then get the back issue of 2 because Anubis starts in it, I get that a lot. A lot of people get the catch-up tier because that's the best deal. So yeah, you can get all that. But we also have other stuff. We have plushies and Lego Anubis and statues and 3D statues, clay statues. Yeah, I'm merch queen.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to back up for just a minute. Did you say metal covers? Like, is in like hardcore metal, like Rock On, Sabaton, or we mean like literal metal, like
literal metal? I have it right here.
Because I'm like a product of the 90s. That's so metal means something. It doesn't mean literal metal.
No, it is
it means
literal
both.
metal.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put you on the full screen.
So I have the comic. So this is the cover for 4. So
why isn't that framed? That is awesome.
Yeah. So, but I have prints, but I also have like the actual comic. So, let's see. So these are, and they're not. So this is issue 5s. You can see the print. It looks better outside the plastic. So yeah, you can get an entire catch-up tier with all metal covers. And
is that hard to read that way with the metal covers, or no?
Nope.
No, the interiors are still paper. It's just the covers.
Yeah, it's just the cover.
I don't know if you wanted to do a comic shop JR during the 90s. The foil, iridium.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean it's like reading a hardcover, I guess, but it's only the front cover.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, I use I don't always do the same cover. Like, you know, sometimes I use a variant, sometimes I use whatever I think would look the best in metal. So
yeah, it really it'll pull out color, like it'll make them stand out really well. They're pricey, but they're worth every penny.
I also have metal trading cards and bookmarks. I love metal. So.
I like what you're doing. The art is awesome, and it's simple enough with the lines that even my colorblind butt can tell what the picture is. Sometimes
I usually have to explain what the color looks like to them.
Yeah, sometimes people get real fancy and they try to be all artsy fartsy. I like it when you keep the colors simple so I can see it and appreciate it.
Yeah, I hear you. I like simple.
I need a
simple.
bookmark.
I have several bookmarks. I have metal bookmarks, and then the new one for the next one is our embroidered, the Anubis with the little skull.
Are the bookmarks associated to a tier, or do you have like a
they're going kit? To be they're a tier this time, but they'll probably be an add-on next time. So I usually do 1 tier, and the next time it's I think that one is just $29 with like issue 7 regular cover and some other add-ons. We have gold-plated coins that a lot of people liked. It might be an add-on this time because people got upset that they're all higher tiers. And it's like, well, that's the point.
Well, you could also add a backer's kit with the individual items. So, like, say I want to get the ketchup because I've been watching these covers for 11 months. You know, and I'm like, oh man, I'm really trying. But you know, life gets in the way, and I forget to go on the Kickstarter and give you my hard-earned money. So you can do a backer kit, and you can add those individual things like the bookmark and the coins and the plushies, so they can get the tier that they want. And then before you check out, it takes you to the backer kit, and you're like, hey, would you like some of this cool stuff that we have?
And for anyone that's curious, my stuff gets sent out within, I say 10 days, but this time it was actually, I think I had 22 mailed out the same day it ended. As soon as payments went through, I packed them up and they got dropped off at the airport, at the post office. The only reason why I couldn't do the rest was I miscounted how many prints I had from the stretch goal. So now I got to wait till they come in. But I have, I think I ordered 2 to 6 day. So they should be here Friday. And then they'll all the rest will be met out Saturday.
So when you launch these Kickstarters, you've already printed the books and all of that. It's all ready to go.
So I will not start any Kickstarter without having everything in hand.
Okay.
Because I don't like to make people wait, and I want to make sure the quality is good before I start this. The only thing I don't buy are variants because I never know how many they're going to buy. And with my luck, I'd buy 11 or 22, and there'll be like one extra. And since there's a minimum, so like I'll buy like 50 of issue regular cover. Like this time I had 50, so like all the ketchup tears go out right away. They go out first, and then mostly because my next campaign's in 3 weeks, so you kind of have to read them to make sure you like them.
Absolutely.
So we are listening. We are recording this before it goes live. So do you happen to know off the top of your head, because as we've shown, the Kickstarter's not set up yet. Do you happen to know what the prices are going to be for the ketchup tier if they wanted to get all of the back issues?
The mini ketchup tier is $25 1 through 3 with a couple of goodies like I think stickers and buttons. And the ketchup tier 1 through 7 is discounted and it's $59. And it comes with 7 issues, a keychain, buttons, stickers, and I think that's everything. 2 sets of buttons.
A good deal.
Yeah.
If you were selling,
boys and girls,
do you have an option for someone who doesn't want the merch? They just want like digital copies of all 7.
Yep, I have digital copy tier is for all 7 is $20, and you get black and white and color versions. So you're getting 14 files for $20.
That's not bad at all. So for those of us who aren't tech savvy, when we get these, are they digital right management free, so we can upload them on any viewing platform, or do we have to have a special app from Kickstarter?
You can download them, or you can just watch them online. But you can download them yourself; they're yours, so you can do print them if you want or whatever
within the legal confines of copyright.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can't. I guess you can't print it and sell it, but if you really feel like going and printing it, technically you're not supposed to, but.
Here's where I get tech savvy geeky. For the digital, is it in PDF or is it in like the CDR format? Okay.
It is PDF, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you can read it in any Adobe supported program.
And get it like the second your payment goes through. I think this time it was sent out 30 minutes after campaign ended.
Wow.
So,
I got to get with you for some business stuff then, because you got me beat.
Yeah, well, I do a Kickstarter every other month. I'm skipping December because of Christmas, so it ends Halloween, and then book 2 starts January 8th or that week. And issue 8 will be done like next week, and probably issue 9 will be done before the end of the year. So pretty much, I'm always like an issue ahead. Wow. So
you are rocking and rolling, sister.
What it's called being obsessed. I'm obsessed
too, but I unfortunately I can't put out a book that fast. I'm only because I do a lot of the drawing too, and I'm slow. But
that'll do it
for the sequential art. It's not that I'm slow. It's God. I wish I was just doing this full time. Then it'd be a lot faster. But anyway,
we also have, just a side note, we have a downloadable song that was written just for us by Permissible Indulgence, which you can catch on Spotify, or the link is on our Kickstarter. So when you listen to the video on Kickstarter, the background music is from our song.
Oh my!
The lyrics are written just for our characters, and the lyrics are posted on the page. And for $3, you can download it, and it's both the instrumental and the vocal version. And we have a new song coming out for book 2 in January. So
listen to that, boys and girls. You get LinkedIn ambiance music that ties into the book. I have never seen that. That is amazing. I give it 4 stars. Check it out.
Thank you.
I really
Check it
want
out.
the bookmark.
I know you want the bookmark. I'll get you a bookmark.
Well, sucker for a good bookmark.
I have 3 versions. I have 4. I have the metal bookmarks that are the Ken Hunt cover, both color.
That's the one she's gonna want.
Yeah, and then I have the embroidered one, and then I have a new metal one that I'm thinking of doing when I release the hardcover, which is that banner right there in metal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm friends with the guest. I can just hook it up.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
So speaking of, because we're trying to keep it at the hour, we're not doing a very good job. We've had a lot of fun though. So with regards to this comic, what would you say? You said you had no nudity in it. What would you say the rating is for people that are listening with kids? If they were thinking, my kid likes to read comics, is this age appropriate? What can you tell the parents that are listening that might be looking?
So I've been asked this question at every book signing and every con. What is the rating of your book? And I said they curse constantly and there's a lot of gore, but there's no nudity. And so far, everyone has wanted it. Oh, okay. So far, everyone. So I don't know. I guess it's PG-13. But I don't know.
With that, I would call it like young adult.
Yeah. If you don't mind cursing, my mom's review was I finally read your story, and besides all the F words, it was pretty good. So there's a lot of F words. So.
What the F is she talking about? That's crazy.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, not like my kids haven't heard me cuss before, but.
Oh, me stubbing my toe? Oh, my Lord. I'd said things that made a demon blush.
No, so far, no parent has cared as long as there's no nudity in it.
Right.
Speaking of demons and parents, at what issue does the conflict between the parents that are sort of pulling the kids in, is that something that goes throughout the series? Does that end in the 7-book arc?
So book 3, the fathers come, and they're in every issue. They are in book 2. They're trying to get them out of the asylum. And so they're trying to do that. But book 3, they send Anubis through a portal to chase after them. So they cannot get them until book 4. So they're not in really book 3 a lot. So it's mostly book 1, book 2, and then they're in 4 and 5 a lot. Because they go to hell, they go to heaven, they go all the places.
I've been there, ate the food, wasn't great. Don't recommend. All right. So yeah, it was, I mean, it's almost, you could call it MRE, but the Army didn't like that. Yeah. So is there anything about this Kickstarter that you want to tell us before we start the wrap up process? Because I know you had a hard out.
I think I pretty much told everything. It's this is 1 through 7. It's completes book 1. And they're extra large pages. I think the shortest one we have is issue 5, which is 24 pages. And the rest are between 28 and 38. And they're all glossy 80-pound weight paper. So these are not thin.
But they'll hold up to multiple readings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So before I let Nick ask the religion question, because he's chomping at the bit to get to steal the thunder. If this became a movie, like if this becomes so popular that they're like, we have to turn this into the CW movie of the week or whatever, whoever makes movies or shows these days, who would you want to play your main characters?
I actually only want animated. Sorry.
Okay.
No,
I have stuff animated.
With it.
And well, because it's a long series, my goal is rated R or PG-13 animated series, and I would want, just like Harry Potter, you have to be in the UK. I think mine's going to be you have to have at least guest starred on Supernatural to be a voice. So,
Jensen Ackles, I hope you're listening.
It was based when we role played. Yeah, so Jensen Ackles and Jared. I would want Misha to do their guardian angel, but he's allowed to use his regular voice because the guardian angel is kind of an idiot. So it fits his regular voice. He doesn't have to strain his voice for anything. Well, I don't know if you know, Misha was only supposed to be in like 4 episodes.
Yeah, but he became a fan favorite, and they had to build.
He ruined his voice. Further. Yeah, he's pretty much ruined his vocal cords doing this series, and he completely regrets doing this gravel voice. So he doesn't have to do that with mine. So yeah, and Alana Tao was to play Joe is the I would want to be Seraphina's voice. So yeah, so that's
you got a good fan casting going on right there. I appreciate that.
All right, and so with that, for the religion questions, I would tell you would kick you if you get the wrong answer. Plot twist: we don't actually kick anybody for that. We just mock them relentlessly in our heads. But since it's the end of the episode, that doesn't even work. So the religion question: Star Wars, Star Trek, or Firefly?
Firefly.
Excellent answer. We're going to be doing an episode on that one in the near future. Going to make Stabby Stab actually watch it. Her life has been deprived up until now. All right. And because we are polytheistic over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast, we've got The Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings, or Game of Thrones.
Lord of the Rings.
Excellent choice. We pulled it out for a while because it was like everybody says that because it's like the OG, but there's nothing else that even goes into the list with the other two iconic properties that fits. So
I would have replaced it with Buffy, Angel, or like the Vampire Diaries.
Good question. Buffy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I loved Angel, but Buffy.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
I loved Angel because it was Vampire Batman without a cowl.
I did. I loved Angel, and especially season 5 because Spike was my favorite.
It's all about Spike.
Spike
Right.
is also from my hometown of Modesto, California.
I have a
Along with
cameo
Angel.
video from him. He's crazy. Like, he is crazy. Like, we got
Oh.
one for me and my husband, so we did 2 separate ones because I sent one for him and he sent one for me. And he's like, I did your wife's like 5 seconds ago. It's like, but he's like crazy. Like, he's talking about David and a party they went through, and like, he's just funny as hell. And I think I don't know if you watch far enough into Supernatural, but him
I did.
and who played Cordelia were married in one of the episodes, and they were witches, and they were trying to like destroy people and kill people by accident as they get jealous of each other. Yeah, so that was a great episode.
You got to watch out for those Modesto folks. We're a little.
He's so funny, though. I would love to meet him in person.
Jeremy Renner, also another
Modesto.
Modesto person who escaped.
I love him too. He's actually a pretty good singer. I have his album.
Oh, you did an album?
He had some moves before the accident too. He could dance.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right, we got one more religion question, and if you know, you'll hear this soon. But coffee or tea, and how do you take it?
It's tea. I take tea. And it's a wussy herbal tea because I don't drink caffeine. So it's plain. But if it makes anyone feel better, my husband drinks enough coffee to probably out coffee all of you. So
Was he in the military too?
he wanted to be. He would put it IV if he could. So
Nick, they asked me
So
once
would
how strong I like my coffee, and I told them I wanted it to show up on a drug
Show
test.
up on a drug test. Yeah.
Or my stepdad was in the Navy, so his was it has to be thick enough that it'll hold the spoon up.
Yeah.
yeah, I have an unfortunately an addictive personality, so I stay away from caffeine, cigarettes, drugs, anything, because it would just I'd probably, as you can tell how obsessed I get with my story, it probably wouldn't be good. So yeah. No one wants to see me on caffeine. I'm already crazy. So
I put bourbon in the coffee and in the tea.
Sobriety and sanity are overrated. Just ask Nick.
Yes. Ask
All
me
right.
what?
So as we bring this puppy to a close, how can listeners and viewers find you on the wild interwebs? And as usual, we will be linking to the Kickstarter in the comment section or in the show notes, and her website as well. Which that way, if you missed the Kickstarter and you're listening to this way into future land, hi from the past, and you could still go to our website and buy stuff.
yes. So pretty much searching Worthy Chaos will get you anywhere. But on Kickstarter, the easiest way to find me is to just search Worthy Chaos. Do not search Redemption. Do not do that to yourself. There's 700. But Worthy Chaos will get you just us. We're the only one that pops up. On Twitter, it's at Worthy_Chaos. On TikTok, it's at Worthy_Chaos. On Facebook, it's at Worthy_Chaos. I know this is very complicated to figure out, but it is Worthy Chaos. We also have a Facebook group, Worthy Chaos. And you can pretty much add me because I am one of those people that would have gotten kidnapped as a kid. I talk to anybody at any time. So you can just talk to me, and I have 5,000 followers on there, and I pretty much will talk to anyone. Like I said, I'm suspicious immediately. So if you can get past the 5 questions or 5 messages on Messenger, you're probably okay, and I'll keep talking. So I might
So
sound
you're like a cat.
yeah, huh?
You're like a cat.
Yeah. So once I get past the mission thing,
So are you saying she wants to watch the world burn?
Yeah.
Probably.
I do have 4 cats, so yeah, they would watch the world burn. But yeah, so right at the very beginning, I'm going to sound very offish when I give you one-word answers like okay and I'm fine and all that. If you can
And
get
no
past
thumbs
that,
up.
then you're good to go.
No thumbs up.
Yeah, don't put a thumbs up. Yeah.
No.
What about the extra big thumbs up where they hold it for like however many seconds and then it just gets bigger and bigger?
I that thing is like a balloon, and I just makes me want to throw the phone across the room. My friend does it because I made the mistake of telling them I hated it, and now it's all the time. So
Yeah.
As you do. I mean, the first thing I did when Nick said that, the first thing I did is go in the chat and like send him a billion of them.
of course.
All right. You can find us over on our link tree at linktr.ee, linktree/Blasters and Blades podcast. We make it easy for you people. We link to all the things, the BitChute, the Rumble, the Twitter, the email, Madam Stabby Stab, where all the hate mail will be directed. When she makes you cry and reply, that is on you. That is on you, people. We are at SF_fantasy_show on the Twitters or the X, whatever the kids are calling it these days. Our email is blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Serious business inquiries only, of course. We have a Facebook page, which we're working on trying to figure out how to make that thing do the things. We have a website over at anchor.fm/blasters-and-blades. Again, anchor.fm/blasters-and-blades. We are working on a proper website. Maybe even will be up soon-ish. I've been saying that for a while, but now we have someone who knows how to do the things and type the type that's going to do it for us. So yay, Rick Shaw. And finally, you can support us on that website at anchor.fm for as little as 99 cents a month. You can help keep the lights on. And if you want to support the show more directly, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/author//whatever, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the comment section that is for the podcast. And I promise I will keep my co-hosts duly caffeinated. They will drink until the Java pours out of their eyeballs. They will drink until Corissa can feel it. All right, that is the goal. We will get her a contact just because we're digitally connected online. That's how much we're going to drink.
We'll drink so much coffee she'll get a contact high. Yeah,
absolutely. That's how this is going to work, people. So when she just randomly starts sending you all the craziness, it's not her fault. And with that being said, thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For our lovely co-hosts, Nick Garber, Doc Cisca, and Madam Stabby Stab, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time, where we'll indulge our love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom. Thank you for coming on. This was a lot of fun, Corissa. I really mean that. Now I'm gonna have to like look under the couch cushions and try to scrounge up the money to get all those digital copies. I mean, I'm sure I've probably got $20 in coins under there somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll
chip in, JR.
Fees, right? If I just mail you a like 2,000
bag of coins,
just a big bag of coins. Sure. Is that okay?
If you do that, I'm driving over there and I'm going to hit you with them.
or we could go creative. We could like transfer it to Canadian Funny Money and send her the loonies.
Do
they even use those anymore? I don't know. They're weird.
I don't know. Canada's weird. No offense.
I'm not even convinced they're real. They're not even convinced they're real. Like they might all be crisis actors up there in Maple Syrup Land.
We could get a hold of Rich Parada and have him send us some British pounds.
There we go. We're gonna send you all the funny money, and you're gonna hate us for like. It's like I'm never talking to those people again. All right,
heathens.
Yeah, and we're out.